Under Unit 2, there's a poem called Our Casuarina Tree by Toru Dutt. About the author, Toru Dutt was born in 1850 and died in 1877. Was a Bengali poet from the Indian subcontinent who wrote in English and French. She was the third daughter of the family. The Dutt family was a family distinguished intellectual and poets. She also had the advantage of being taught by excellent English tutors at home and later on of the long story in Europe and England. Toru, with all her exposure to and involvement in Western life and culture, loved the land of her birth and remained thoroughly Indian in her consciousness and sensibility, besides her well known collection of poems with the title Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan 1882. She has to her credit a volume of poems in French titled Sheaf Gleaned in French Fields. Our Casuarina Tree, the most well known of Toru's poems, was included in her miscellaneous poems. Glossary. Gallantly, bravely, and heroically. Repose, a state of rest. Casement, a type of window that is fixed on one side and opens like a door. Baboon, a type of large monkey found in Africa and Asia. Kohilas, a type of bird similar to the cuckoo. Wind, stroll. Hoar, white frost deposits on the tree. Enmast, amazed. Shingle, rocky. Wraith, as apparition. Tranced, dreamy condition, hypnotized. Sublime, glorious, grand. Feign, eagerly. Consecrate, to officially make something holy. Lay, amateur. Rehearse, repeat. Oblivion, state of forgetfulness. Fill in the blanks choosing the words from the box given and complete the summary of the poem. Casuarina tree is tall and strong with a winding around it like a python. The tree stands like a giant with a colorful scarf of flowers. Birds surround the garden and the sweet song of the birds is heard. The poet is delighted to see the casuarina tree through her casement. She sees a grey monkey sitting like a statue on the top of the tree, the cows grazing, and the water lilies springing in the pond. The poet feels that the tree is dear to her, not its impressive appearance, not of its impressive appearance, but for the nostalgic memories of her happy childhood that it brings to her. She strongly believes that nature communicates with human beings. The poet could communicate with the tree even when she was in a far off land, as she could hear the tree lamenting her absence. The poet consecrates the tree's memory to her loved ones who are not alive. She immortalizes the tree through her poem, like the poet Wordsworth, who sanctified the yew tree of Borrowdale in verse. She expresses her wish that the tree should be remembered out of love and not just because it cannot be forgotten. Based on your understanding of the poem, answer the following questions in one or two sentences. Each. What is the creeper compared to? The creeper is compared to the python. How does the creeper appear on the tree? The creeper appears on the tree like a giant wearing a colorful scarf of flowers. Describe the garden during the night. At night, the garden overflows with sweet music which seems to have no end. The song came out from the casuarina tree and it made people to repose. How does the poet spend her winter? The poet spends her winter by watching a large grey monkey sitting like a statue on the top of the tree and its little ones leap about playing on the lower boughs. Name the bird that sings in the poet's garden. The name of the bird that sings in the poet's garden is Kokila. Why is the casuarina tree dear to the poet's heart? The poet feels that the tree is dear to her heart not for its magnificence and appearance but for the nostalgic memories of her happy childhood that brings to her. Does nature communicate with human beings? Yes, the poet could communicate with the tree even when she was in a far off land, as she could hear the tree lamenting her absence. What has Wordsworth sanctified in his poem? Wordsworth has sanctified in his poem that the yew tree of Borrowdale should be ever remembered out of love and not because it cannot be forgotten. To whom does Toru Dutt want to consecrate the tree's memory? The poet wants to consecrate the tree's memory to her beloved ones who are not alive, and she immortalizes the tree through her poem. The casuarina tree will be remembered forever. Why? The poet expresses her wish that the casuarina tree will be remembered forever because she loves it and cannot be forgotten. Read the lines given below and answer the questions that follow. A creeper climbs in those embraces bound no other tree could live. Which tree is referred to in the above line? The tree referred to in the above line is casuarina tree. How does the tree survive the tight hold of the creeper? The tree is tall and strong and it stands like a giant. Therefore, the tree can survive. Why does Toru Dutt use the expression a creeper climbs? The tree is embraced by the creeper and flowers are hung in crimson clusters and it looks like a giant wearing a red scarf. The giant wears the scarf and flowers are hung in crimson clusters all the bough among. Who is the giant here? The casuarina tree is the giant. Why is the scarf colorful? The creeper on the tree has bloomed with the crimson flowers and it seems as though the giant is wearing a colorful scarf. Fear, trembling, hope and death and skeleton and time and shadow and though weak and worse, that would thy beauty fain, oh fain rehearse. May love defend tree from oblivion curse. What does the poet mean by the expression? May love defend the tree from oblivion curse. The poet expresses her wish that the tree should be remembered out of love and not just because it cannot be forgotten. What does the expression fain convey? The expression fain conveys how eager the poet would consecrate the tree's memory to her loved ones. What does the poet say through the expression fear, trembling, hope? The poet conveys a human state of mind through the expression fear, trembling, hope. Explain the following with reference to the context. Dear is the casuarina to my soul. Context. This line is an extract taken from the poem Our Casuarina Tree written by Toru Dutt. Explanation. The poet loves the casuarina tree not because of its magnificence but beneath the tree when her companions who were so sweet and beloved loved the tree profoundly. The poet loves the casuarina tree not because of its The poet loves the casuarina tree not because of its magnificence and appearance, but for the nostalgic memories of her happy childhood that brings to her. Her companions, so sweet and beloved, loved the tree profoundly. Therefore, the poet calls the tree dear to her soul. It is the tree's lament and It is the tree's lament and eerie speech. Context. This line is taken from the poem Our Casuarina Tree by Toru Dutt. Explanation. The poet could communicate with the tree even when she was in a far-off land, as she could hear the tree lamenting in her absence. Unto thy honor, tree, beloved of those who now in blessed sleep for I repose. These lines are taken from the poem Our Casuarina Tree, written by Toru Dutt. Explanation. The poet consecrates the tree's memory to her beloved ones who are not alive and immortalizes the tree through her sanctified the yew tree consecrates the tree's memory to her beloved ones who are not alive, and she immortalizes the tree through her sanctified the yew tree of Borrowdale in verse. Identify the figure of speech used in each of the extracts given below and write down the answer in the space given below. Like a huge python, winding round and round, the rugged trunk intended deep with scars. Like a huge python, simile, round and round, alliteration. A creeper climbs in whose embraces bound no other tree could live, but gallantly the giant wears the scarf and flowers hung. The giant wears the scarf, it is metaphor. Creeper climbs, alliteration. A grey baboon sits a statue like alone. Statue like, simile. Sits, statue, alliteration. The water lilies spring like snow enmast. Lilies spring like snow enmast is simile. What is the dirge like murmur that I hear? Like the sea breaking on dirge on a single beach. Dirge, D-I-R-G. Like the sea, simile. Murmur, onomatopoeia. Breaking, beach, alliteration. Zoo, morphism, a simile. அது என்னம்மா? Answer each of the following questions in a paragraph of about 100 to 150 words. Describe the reminiscences of the poet when she sees the casuarina tree. The casuarina tree is tall and strong with a creeper winding around like a python. The tree stands like a giant with a colorful scarf of flowers. Birds twitter around the trees in the garden during daytime. The sweet song of the birds is heard during the night. From the casement, the poet is able to see the casuarina tree. The baboon is sitting like a statue on the top of the tree, and the poet is delighted in watching it. The little ones leap and play around among the boughs of the tree. The cows are grazing and the water lilies are springing in the pond. The casuarina tree is dear to the poet's heart, not only for its impressive appearance, but also bringing nostalgic memories of her happy childhood. Now, does nature communicate with the poet? How does the nature communicate with the poet? The casuarina tree is very dear to the poetess. She loves it not for its appearance only, but also for the sweet memories of her happy childhood that brings to her. She believes that nature communicates with human beings. The poetess thinks even now she can communicate with the tree though she is far away. She could hear the tree lamenting her absence. She consecrates the tree to her beloved ones who are not alive. She immortalizes the tree through this poem like William Wordsworth. Wordsworth sanctified the new yew tree of Borrowdale Valley in this poem. She says that the tree should ever be remembered out of love and not just because it cannot be forgotten. The poet immortalizes the tree, elucidate. The casuarina tree is dear to the poetess, and she loves its impressive appearance. The sweet memories of her childhood is collected in her. The poetess could communicate with the tree even though she is far away now. She says the tree is lamenting her absence. The poetess consecrates the tree to her beloved ones who are no more. For their sake, she immortalizes the tree through this poem like William Wordsworth, who sanctifies the yew tree of Borrowdale Valley in his poem. She expresses that the tree should be remembered out of love and not just that it could not be forgotten. Listening. First, read the questions given below, then listen to the poem and read aloud by the teacher or play on an audio player. Then answer the questions based on your listening of the poem. The poet was tossing in the bed awake because There's multiple choice. He was struggling to sleep. Answer B. Next. The stars were sparkling as pearls. Answer C. The moon gave the poet a motherly smile. Answer C. Moon. Moon made the poet's eyelids droop. Answer C. எங்க இருக்கு C? ஆஃப் பண்ணுங்க. Tiredness made the poet's eyelids droop. Next, Midnight Wonders is the title of the poem. Unit 2 supplementary. Next, we'll see under Unit 2 a supplementary reading, A Life of Pi, Jan Martel. About the author. Jan Martel was born in Spain to French-Canadian parents. Martel's father worked as a diplomat and the family moved to Costa Rica, France, Mexico and Canada during Martel's childhood. He grew up speaking both French and English. Martel studied philosophy at Trent University in Ontario and later spent a year in India visiting religious sisters and zoos. His first 3 books received little critical or popular attention, but with the publication of Life of Pi in 2001, Martel became internationally famous and he was awarded the Man Booker Prize in 2002. Glossary. Belch, expel air noisily. Flotsam, debris floating in a river or sea. Tarpaulin, a heavy waterproof sheet. Incredible, unbelievable. Conundrum, a riddle. Asphyxiation, death due to attack of oxygen. See, death due to lack of oxygen. Putrid, rotting. Guise, pretense. Cauldron, a large bowl or pot. Splinters, a long sharp fragment of material, often wood. Plausible, probable, likely. Unambiguous, clear. Supplication, a humble request prayer. Glistened, shone. Gunnel, upper edge of the side of a boat. Gurgling, a kind of sound when water is drunk fast. Rummaged, unsymmetrically. Nectar, honey. Formidable, inspiring, awe.